In military life, symbols often carry meaning far beyond what they appear to be. A uniform, a patch, or even a tattoo can tell a story of sacrifice, history, or personal struggle. This is the story of a woman who carried such a mark. She was mocked by members of the Navy SEALs, one of the most elite units in the United States military. They thought her tattoo was a joke. They thought it had no place among them. But when a high-ranking general walked into the room and rolled up his sleeve, everything changed. This is not simply a story about ink on skin. It is a story about history, respect, and the unseen weight of symbols. To understand what happened, we first need to step back into the culture of military service. The United States military, like many armed forces across the world, values tradition, discipline, and shared identity. Rituals matter. Symbols matter. From the stripes on a sleeve to the eagle on a medal, each mark is meant to remind service members that they are a part of something larger than themselves. Tattoos, too, play a powerful role in military history. Sailors, soldiers, and airmen across generations have used tattoos to mark where they served, who they lost, and what they fought for. In World War II, many American servicemen tattooed anchors, eagles, or even the names of their units. During the Vietnam War, tattoos often became symbols of survival and remembrance. But not all tattoos are seen the same way. Within elite units, such as the Navy SEALs, short for Sea, Air, and Land Teams, there is a deep culture of pride. The SEAL Trident, for example, is a highly respected insignia that represents completion of one of the toughest training pipelines in the world. To wear that insignia is an honor that must be earned. For some, any other mark can seem out of place. This story unfolded on a U.S. naval base where multiple units were training together. Among them was a new officer, a Black woman whose background made her presence rare. The military has long struggled with diversity, especially within elite branches. Women in the Navy make up less than a quarter of the force, and within the SEAL community, female representation has been extremely limited. A woman standing shoulder to shoulder with the SEALs already challenged expectations. And then there was her tattoo. The tattoo was not flashy. It was not a common design found in tattoo shops. It carried deep, personal meaning to her. But to those who did not know its origin, it looked unusual. Some thought it looked out of place, even unprofessional. It became a point of mockery, whispered first behind her back and later spoken aloud in the open. The incident began during a joint briefing. A group of SEAL operators noticed the tattoo when the officer removed her jacket before a training exercise. It ran along her forearm, simple yet striking. One of the operators, speaking just loud enough for others to hear, joked about it. He asked if she had picked it up at a street shop. Another chuckled and suggested it looked more like decoration than dedication. The woman remained calm. She did not respond immediately. She knew that answering in anger would only fuel their ridicule. She also knew that silence could be misread as weakness. So she kept her composure, though the words stung. Later, during a physical training drill, the jokes resurfaced. A SEAL candidate remarked that the tattoo was cute, but not earned. The suggestion was clear. Unlike their tridents, which represented grueling training and proven ability, her tattoo had no recognized value. It was just ink. What they did not know was that her tattoo carried a history far older than the SEAL teams. It was a family mark. Generations before her, her grandfather had served in a segregated regiment during World War II. At that time, Black soldiers faced immense discrimination, even as they risked their lives overseas. Her grandfather's unit had adopted a symbol of resilience. one that blended African heritage with American military pride. He had carried that mark on his arm until the day he died. Her father had carried it as well, through his own years of service. When it was her turn to serve, she chose to carry it too. It was not about decoration, it was about legacy. The tension reached its peak during a formal meeting. A general officer known for his long service and deep respect among the ranks was present to oversee training progress. The room was full: SEALs, support staff, and officers from multiple units. One of the SEALs, emboldened by laughter, again made a mark about the tattoo. This time, the woman responded. She explained calmly that the mark had meaning, that it was tied to her family's history of service, dating back to a time when black soldiers were often overlooked. She spoke of her grandfather. She spoke of her father. She spoke of sacrifice. The room grew quiet, though some still smirked. That is when the general shifted in his chair. Slowly, he rolled up his sleeve. On his forearm, in almost the exact same place, was the same tattoo. The design was older, more faded, but unmistakable. He explained that years earlier, he had served alongside her father. He had been given the honor of carrying that same mark, a sign of respect and solidarity. To him, it was not just a tattoo. It was a reminder of courage under fire, of brothers in arms, and of a bond that outlasted war. The room fell silent. The mocking ended. What had been dismissed as decoration was revealed to be a symbol of legacy and loyalty. The SEALs, known for their pride, found themselves face to face with a reminder that respect cannot be measured only by their own traditions. This moment mattered for several reasons. It highlighted the challenges of diversity in elite military units. Being different often draws unwanted attention. In this case, gender, race, and heritage intersected in a way that exposed deep cultural biases. But the resolution showed that respect can be earned not by shouting, but by revealing truth. It revealed the power of symbols. Military culture thrives on them: badges, medals, insignias, but personal symbols can carry equal or greater weight. What may appear ordinary to one person may represent generations of sacrifice to another. It offered a lesson in humility. Even within elite units, no one knows every story. Mockery often comes from ignorance. Once knowledge is shared, perspective changes. The SEALs in that room walked away with a broader understanding. They were reminded that their traditions, while important, exist alongside others just as worthy of respect. And finally, it reinforced the importance of leadership. The general's decision to reveal his tattoo was not about shaming his men, it was about teaching them. His action carried more weight than any lecture could. It showed that history lives in unexpected places and that respect must extend beyond familiar boundaries. In the military, respect is often measured in rank, achievement, or visible marks of success. But true respect comes from understanding. The black woman's tattoo was more than ink. It was a living history of service, sacrifice, and family. What began as mockery ended as a lesson. The SEALs learned that day that not all symbols are visible in manuals or training guides. Some symbols carry stories that reach back through generations. Some connect lives across decades of conflict. And some, like the tattoo on her arm, remind us that service is not defined by how others see you, but the legacy you carry. This story is not about tattoos alone. It is about recognition. It is about humility. And it is about the reminder that in every room, every unit, and every mission, there are stories waiting to be heard. Stories that deserve respect. Because sometimes what looks like simple ink is a marker of something far greater.